Sometimes the best way to solve a problem is head on, but not according to Yale University Chief of Psychiatry Fellow. No, she says run and hide. Let's talk about it on Azimuth Podcast. I'm Kimberly McNabb, and with me is Barrett McNabb. So on MSNBC, psychiatry resident Amanda Calhoun told Joy Reid, there's a push, I think, just a societal norm that if somebody in your family, that they are entitled to your time. And I think the answer is absolutely not. She went on to say it is okay to cut family members off. So now she did say to tell the family members why.
Okay, let's take a quick look.
And if you then meet somebody and you know they voted for the people who called you trash, or if you're Puerto Rican, you know someone voted that way, do you recommend, just from a psychological standpoint, being around them? We got the holidays coming up.
So I love that you asked this question because, there is a push, I think just a societal norm that if somebody is your family, that they are entitled to your time. And I think the answer is absolutely not. So if you are going to a situation where you have family members, where you have close friends who have voted in ways that are against you, like what you said, against your livelihood, and it's completely fine to not be around those people and to tell them why, to say, I have a problem with the way that you voted because it went against my very livelihood and I'm not going to be around you this holiday. I need to take some space for me.
This is just crazy. This is coming from a psychiatrist. I thought the main point of therapy was to help a person focus better on current problems and how to solve them. And it often involves practicing new skills in the real world. And elections happen in the real world. I mean, if you start filtering everything and everyone challenging in your life, you're eventually just going to be alone.
Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to help you develop coping mechanisms or, how to stand up for yourself, something. This is just, no, just shut down, isolate yourself. I mean, it's human nature to, not want to deal with difficult things unless you absolutely have to. You take the easy road. I mean, that's why some people are lazy. They just don't want to do difficult things. I mean, why pay so much money that therapy costs just for a quote, professional to enable your human nature, which you get for free?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, so even before the election, there were numerous high-profile institutions of higher learning, namely, for example, off the top of my Georgetown University, had created safe spaces for the day after the election, and included light snacks, and included Legos, and included Play-Doh. I didn't know that if you graduate from Georgetown University, you had to go through kindergarten again while in school. I mean, this is absurd, and it's that mentality that is not letting these people pull their big boy pants up and go and sit down at Thanksgiving meal. And who's to say you have to talk about politics? What if you talk about, I remember my favorite memory from being a child, and oh, look at that, you kept my teddy bear. Let's have a meal and break bread.
Yeah, a lot of families used to have a rule. What's the 3 things you're not supposed to talk about in polite dinner? It's religion, politics, and what? Money or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, good God, this is just all a result. The safe spaces were created because, there's a demand for it.
Right.
We raise these wimpy kids, like with the helicopter parents and, gluten-free this and peanut-free this and allergies, and the whole self-esteem movement and the participation trophy thing.
Right.
Like, kids are so soft. And so by the time they get to college, yeah, they are still 5 years old. And it's like, la, 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 la. I don't want to hear that. And
right.
It's just like, toughen up your kids, people. Like, maybe they should have gone to military academy or something.
I mean, could you imagine being in the workplace? Let's just say Goldman Sachs, and you were a Harris supporter, and you break down on the operations floor of Goldman Sachs in Manhattan, and you just throw this temper tantrum because you can't control your emotions.
Yeah, because if it's
how do you think that's going to go in your job?
Yeah, it's not going to be just one thing that sets people like this off. I mean, how do you, what is off limits? Like, no, I won't break down over this. I mean, if it's one thing, it's going to be another and another and another. But, you know, I think a better psychologist, therapist would go, okay, you know, teach you strategies, how to maybe find common ground. Is there a legitimate, you know, ask questions, you know, open up conversations. Like maybe they have a legitimate reason for voting the orange man. You know, they're not thinking about you and your little subculture group. They're thinking about the economy. They're thinking about other things. They have different priorities.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'd love to jump on that because, you know, asking, to your point, asking questions like, you know, can you explain why you voted for Donald Trump, and you know, understand why, not that you feel as though it's hateful. Because again, a lot of the people that are upset, at least on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube videos and things like that, it seems to me, again, I don't have a degree in psychology, but it seems to me that it is the supposed loss of a single issue, whether that single issue was trans rights or whether that single issue was abortion. It seems as though the people who were most upset were single issue voters, right? And so I think by asking a question to someone who voted for Donald Trump, why did you do that? Well, I like the fact that he is going to protect our border. I like the fact that he is going to fix the economy and bring prices down. I like the fact that he is going to make the U.S. military stronger and less focused on DEI and more focused on lethality. Those are the reasons why I voted for Donald Trump. So you may be mad because you were pro-choice and you didn't get your way, but that's the problem with hanging on a single issue, is it consumes you.
Yeah, and you can't see the forest through the trees. Like,
right.
But, you know, these things that you just mentioned affect everybody, not just a couple people or maybe a couple points in your life.
Right.
And like I said, if they're going to break down over one thing, they're going to break down over any little thing. And the next thing you know, you're walking on eggshells around those people. And, you know, also people just fail to think, what if it were the other way around? Say if Kamala Harris had won, would those same family members cut you off for voting
right.
for her? Probably not.
Probably not.
I don't know if, personally, I don't know of any Trump supporters in 2020 that cut off family members that voted for Biden. I don't know of any. I
mean, you know, it really does seem that the left is best about doing that. I think you have a relatively new friend, and she basically effectively lost her son because he married a liberal woman, and their politics differ so much that the new wife isn't letting the son talk to the mother.
Oh no, I think he's completely gone already. But yeah, it's just a horrible way, and you know, I think it's just another way to divide people.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, this is. I mean, you should be able to turn the other cheek, honestly, and be. You know, if you're claiming to be Christian, remember it's Christ-like to have grace. And, you know, if you're a Christian or a Jew, we're able to respect thy father and thy mother. I mean, if you are a liberal and your parents voted in a way that was different than you should respect the longevity of the relationship. Yeah,
they took care of you. They probably paid for your college. Like, come on. Also, you know, like I said, if you cut someone out for one thing and then someone else out for another thing, eventually you're going to be alone. And then when you're old and infirm, who's coming to your bedside?
Right.
I doubt it's going to be the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. It's going to be your family.
Right.
And, you know, these are all people on the left. The left is about division and they're anti-family. I mean, come on, you have the Julia Roberts commercials like, oh, vote against your husband. You have these leftist states where, you know, if your kid claims to be trans, and I mean, you could lose custody of your kids. That's another way of separating families. And now
if you don't provide gender affirming care,
yeah, so-called affirming, and now you have groups wanting religious families not be able to foster kids because they would not, quote unquote, affirm any trans kids. So again, keeping kids away from getting a family that they need.
I mean, that's one of the things that the left wants. They want division. Division is important to a leftist view, and it is important for them to put people into stovepipes so that they can continue their identity politics. If you're not with us, you're against us. If you're Caucasian, then you're a racist. And you need to go through improved DEI training on a daily basis in order to come over here. And you've got people being brainwashed, families put against families. And that's what the liberals and the Democrats want. They want families to be split, whereas Republicans want family and people to come together. And I really want to say that's one of the reasons why the Republicans won so handedly all three branches of government, including both sides of Congress, the lower house and the upper house, is because the Republicans are more welcoming than the Democrats are. You see working class people coming over to the Republican Party in droves. You see this huge uptick in African American. You see a huge uptick in Latinos and Latinas coming over to the Republican Party. The Rainbow Party is now really the Rainbow Coalition is now really the Republican Party. You have, all kinds of different, you have Muslims that are coming over and voting for Trump. Jewish people historically have been voting for Democrats or voting for Trump because it's in their best interest. And so, to really say that the party who welcomes everybody, it's now the Republican Party.
Yep. Yeah, and if you leave the Republican Party, you're not going to have people screaming at you, whereas if you leave the Democrats, you're going to have people screaming at you.
Yeah, absolutely. So this week before Thanksgiving, if you are a liberal who's watching our video, please, please, please reconsider. Go and break bread with your family, be with your family, because life is about family. It's not about who's the president of the United States. And I really urge you to do that.
Yep.
So thank you so much for watching Azimuth Podcast, and please stay tuned after these messages.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy our show with all the stories we share, we would love your support.
And it's as easy as clicking that subscribe or follow button. This will ensure you never miss an episode and keeps us bringing you these important stories. Your support makes a huge difference. Thank you so much for being part of our podcast family.
Thanks, and keep tuning in.